Okay, okay, cool. Oh, going live. Oh, hello, hello. I am pulling stuff up. We're doing it. Okay. If anybody's interested, I'm up to just hang out and chat. I think today's just gonna be kind of chill, do some power washing, and if anybody wants to hop on and just talk in the background with me, it's fun too. We'll just do that. So make it happen. Might edit some stuff as we go, but trying to get back into it, understand what's going on. Okay, let's restructure that. Oh yeah, yeah. This is it. Me so there's like a way to do stuff. Okay, that's not it. You have to change it manually, or is it like there we go. We had some good discussions on McMo's stream this morning about marriage. I swear I need to figure out what these there we go, rotate this morning. They kind of went off the rails, but you know, I feel like it's going in a better direction. Um, there's been some interesting conversations about what that all entails and everything. But really, what we need more is power washing. There's like a lot of gunk here that's like right, not super visible. Maybe we need to just really target it. Cut it out. Oh yeah. We'll do like a good round four. Yeah. I think it'd be fun to kind of talk about what I posted earlier and like we can kind of have that open and chat about it. By the way, if anybody is sitting in a Discord waiting for me to pull them over, just let me know and I can get you over and into the main chat. But the thing I've been working on is Luke's question about how do we do a good job of being responsible with technology, especially when you're responsible for someone else. And part of my response was about, you know, I don't have kids. I don't know how to do that. What I can do is talk about how we can work on that individually, and then we can kind of expand that out into how do you help people walk on the same path. So it's really hard to recommend for someone else to do something if you don't already do it, especially if you are a parent. There's a lot of difficulties that come with that. Good to see you, Parlato. How's it going? You know, one man's trash is another man's treasure? Is that... I don't know if that fits. Whenever I tell people that this is a game, and they are not familiar with video games, they seem very distressed by the idea that someone would be power washing as a fun activity. But it's taught me how to clean somewhat. I don't ever want to clean anything in real life after, though, you know? It's gross. But, you know, it's a start. Yeah. Ugh. Looking pretty good over here. Oh, there's some nice grime on the edge. I'm not great at getting the details. And that's true of real life and of this game and of everything. Often when I'm making a video or something, once I reach a certain point, I'm like, I am done. I've done 90% of what I need to do, and that last 10%, that last push is difficult. And again, that has to do too with this, right? Like trying to deal with that last little bit of grime to show that you've done a good job. It can be an arduous task. Especially when you feel like it's good enough, but it's not. I mean, I feel like I should probably just use a... Can I buy a cleaning liquid? These are all online stuff. Shop. Cleaning liquid. Multi-purpose. Wood, stone, glass, metal. Yeah. No cleaner attached. Okay, wait. It'll do, I guess. Someday I will remember how to do some of this. Where's the... Oh. I really did just jump in after being gone forever with this game. So maybe if I don't remember any of this stuff, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Let's see if we can finally see a little bit right there. A little bit right there. But a little bit there. Okay. There we go. Here's a topic idea: how TLC protocols show face to come on stream help beat dead internet theory. Well, that's true. I don't think I've ever thought of it that way. That's interesting. I don't necessarily have a problem with the dead internet theory. because it seems to get people off the internet. At least that's the impression I get. And just reinforces the good aspects. But maybe I'm wrong. Wait, what does Chesterton say? He says, like, no, you can't be wrong because it's your opinion. So saying that I could be wrong is just a way to appease people. So I'm right. I'm right on this one. This green stuff, really sticking to it. Hey Tayo, how's it going? Get some nasty rust on this stuff. At least the dirt is coming off easy. Ooh. By the way, if anybody, again, I'll give out the invitation and, you know, take it or leave it. If anybody wants to come on to the President Foxman server and hang out to talk, let me know. But I also know that everybody's kind of chilling out, having a good time. Some grime on this stuff. I think, what other parts of dead internet? The, yeah, this is the calm after stormy cookout. I felt like there was a need for the relaxing side of things. Oh yeah, no worries. Thanks, Af, for swinging by. Tonight, cooking up some steaks with some friends, having a good time. I'm gonna try to make some fondant potatoes. I don't know if any of you are familiar with fondant potatoes, but they're like a very fancy kind of preparation of potato that requires like no ingredients. It's basically just butter, stock, and potatoes. Oh, the cookout? The cookout was a little weird because there was some contentious conversations about the marriage stuff, and it ended up becoming some people's soapbox to talk about their problems with Christianity. It kind of got off topic. And I was just trying to kind of, you know, focus. As always, that can be very difficult. And then people were getting passionate about what they believed. But their passion expressed itself in maybe not using an indoor voice. So it was a little intense. So it's nice to have just a time of relaxation, reflection. Oh, it's all along the edge here. Oh. Whoa. So yeah, some steak, We got some asparagus from the store today. It's gonna be nice. We're all gonna cook it up. What other things? To decide on if we're gonna watch a movie or not or something. So if anybody has a movie suggestion, be happy to hear it. I've been joking with my wife. I keep recommending the movie Perfect Days. And even though it would be an amazing experience to watch it with everybody, it's it's a little much. Yeah. Watching a guy get ready in the morning multiple days in a row cleaning toilets is maybe not the most like exciting thing and thing that you can have in the background. It's one of those movies that you kind of have to focus on and like reflect on. But it's just such a good movie. It's hard to say no. Tree of Life. I still need to see Tree of Life. Or A Hidden Life. Isn't that another one of those movies? Man, there are a lot of movies I still need to watch. And movies I want to go back to, too, right? Like, it's been forever since I've watched Silence. I also need to read it and everything. There's just too many things and not enough time, you know? Somebody said that, like, you shouldn't say that there isn't enough time. Who was that? That was, oh gosh, I'm gonna forget his name. I'm gonna embarrass myself somehow. Cat Williams. It was Cat Williams on the Theo Vaughn podcast. He was like, you have the same amount of time as everybody else has had in their life. So stop saying you don't have enough time. That was a little convicting. Especially now, considering, you know, we have everything that we need in modern society, so why am I complaining? But the streaming services aren't good, am I right, guys? Oh, we got another piece done. That's what we like to see. Nice. Cat Williams is a prophet. He makes me a little uncomfortable sometimes from stuff he says, but, you know, it's hard to deny some of his, some things. He kind of gets spot on. I have a hard time with the non-monogamy. That might be my flaw. Is I'm a little I'm a little firm on the monogamy point. That's kind of my soapbox. And so when people kind of go outside that, it's a little gets me a little nervous. Especially when children are involved. I wonder if there are people who are subscribed to me who still think I'm like a communist because I made one communist video and they saw it for 2 seconds. Sometimes I'm curious about that. I think it's kind of funny. this tread has a lot of dirt on the side. We'll need one of these extenders. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Same way Nietzsche was a prophet, you know. He's saying something. And there's truth to it. But it doesn't necessarily mean the person is all up and up, you know. Of course, God does use people of all types. For all sorts of stuff. Oh, we're just plowing through this. Oh, there's dirt all under here. Oh. So we got this wheel drive. This caterpillar tread is still... This drill is particularly, like, nasty. It has so many little cracks and corners and angles. Well, see you, Tayo. Thanks for hopping by and checking out the stream. We will be here. Let me, get that going. There we go. Oh. Is it normal to, I feel like pressure washing indoors, it can make sense sometimes, but all the stuff on the walls, I'd be afraid of, you know, getting the house to have, like, water damage or something. I feel like we should finish this. Oh wait, this panel's done. This tread is not. I don't know if we have, can get up some of it. Okay, that's fair. This shielding isn't done. There we go. Nice. I've been listening to audiobooks on Spotify because, you know, if I already have it, I can use it to listen to stuff. And I had been very frustrated with the limits on, like, audiobook time. I don't understand why you know, there isn't, like, an alternative that they could do than to give you, like, no time on an audiobook. But I won't complain too much. I've gotten a lot of good out of it, listening to stuff I wouldn't normally listen to. Is this tread almost done? Oh, nice. There we go. We're making progress. We're making progress. Nice. Oh, dang. Okay, yeah, we're looking like we're making some good progress now. It's very satisfying by the ends. They will show you your time lapse. Very, very good time. I'm trying to get into the mindset of like what you can do with streaming, you know? I feel like there's a lot of different routes people take. And one of them is like reaction. And I don't know if I've done a great job ever at like reacting. And also kind of ambivalent to its value. So that's something I'm considering as well. At what point does like does a person actually add anything worthwhile? Oh, we're gonna shorten up our. Like right now, I think what I'm doing is I'm just chilling, providing a place for people just to hang out and talk if they're interested. But if not, you know, they can just sit, have a good time. The door frame still has some stuff on it. I think it's up here. I need to. Can I not pick this up? Hmm. Hmm. We're gonna figure out these controls. Pick up its F. It does not work. Okay. There we go. Hmm. Oh, was I using the heavy duty? I was using the heavy duty. Make me think I'm not doing that. Nerfing myself. What is this? What's this nonsense? Oh, I got the tread done? Okay, nice. Oh wait, no, I got a tread done. There's still a lot more to do on this one. Oh, ups. Thank you. It's very generous. I don't... They, yeah. Thank you for the gifted memberships. What are we missing out on here? Caterpillar treads. One of these treads isn't done. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah. There we go. Hmm. Okay. Front. So, I guess now's my soapbox. I can just say what I want now. With the whole marriage thing, I get really bothered by people talking about marriage in a sense that's very pragmatic, you could say. Wheels and wheel drives. These are wheel drives. In really pragmatic senses. And I think for the most part that has to do with, it doesn't feel very honoring of it. It's, becomes then a tool that we're just using to do something. That marriage is now a means to an end. And so, um, marriage, if you don't get what you want, you know, it's, oh, here's our playback. If you don't get what you want out of it, then, you know, it's not worthwhile, and then, you know, who really cares? Um, is it not serving us anymore? And I find that to be a little disturbing, you say? I'll clean the tree house, why not? Because in my mind it needs to be something more. It needs to be well, let's do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it needs to point to something other than that. It needs to be something that you know, it can't just be about what you get out of it. It needs to be, you know, good for its own sake to a certain extent. I don't think for its own sake is completely there, but it's close. So when people talk about like, you know, are people getting out what this is intended for? I don't think, in my humble opinion, I don't think marriage is for anything beyond, you know, being representative of something that is good, which is, you know, community, relationship. When we go at it from a pragmatic perspective, I think it loses a lot of its potency. And then what's the even point of doing it in the first place? And that's kind of been my soapbox. It's been I don't understand at all what marriage means from outside of a religious framework. And not to be, you know, I know people who are married who are not religious in any sense. I don't want to, you know, make them ever feel like their stuff doesn't matter, right? I think it does very much matter. Um, but I just don't understand it. To me, it's just so deeply rooted in an understanding of uh, oh wait, is there another one of these? There's two of these? Oh. I'm gonna have to do the inside too, yeah. Yeah. But it's so deeply rooted in a sense of I mean, if I'm gonna get into it, right, it's like, to me it's very Trinitarian theology stuff, right? If God himself is a community, then marriage is a community that reflects that. There are three persons in marriage: God, the the man and the woman in that perspective. And so then they become one, just like the Trinitarian Trinity is, right? And it's very fundamentally that way for me. So to see like, I don't know, the government, giving tax benefits to specific, you know, things that they like and don't like, it seems very odd. It seems like a it's hard not to use the word disturbing, right? Like people can do their own thing. Like why do you need to be married? And in that way, I don't think it is pragmatic. I don't think I feel like I have to think it's pragmatic. And so I would almost, actively recommend against it for people who are not, you know, doing it for religious reasons. Because in that sense, it causes problems, and you have to develop systems around it to deal with those problems that are, you know, kind of unique to that perspective. But I know a lot of people would not agree with me on that. So I would be curious to hear what everybody else has to think. But I think that's kind of where I've been sitting. Is I just don't know if I quite understand. It's almost like it's become a cultural thing. Like I do this because my parents told me that this was the way things go, or something like that. And purely rooted in tradition, I don't think is a good, reason to do pretty much anything. Um, Solely, right? Or to make other people happy, you know? If it's to make your parents happy, I don't think that's a justifiable reason to get married, especially. Something that's going to change your entire life. Again, I say this all as a married person. I want to make sure that's very clear. That I will change the subject. Hmm. Going back to time management, I think that's one interesting thing I've been kind of thinking about. Go this way. Yeah. I like how clean this is all getting. It's nice. Um, and I still have a really hard time with time management. And I'm trying to figure out where that all sits. Let's put this longer. Um, Yeah, for one, just sitting and how do I say this? How about I go a different direction? I think this is more interesting. There's been this talk about giving up, you know. I think I've talked about it before. Let's shorten this up. Let's go short, and 25 degrees is fine. And you know, sometimes the only way, or the thing that you want will only come when you give it up. You know. And honestly, that seems to be the best way to go, right? It's uh, this was out of a conversation that Luke Thompson had with Jess and a few other people. They brought up the movie Swingers, and you know, spoilers, but the whole movie's about a guy trying to get his over a relationship. And at the very end, it's when he has finally moved on. That's when she reaches out to him, and then he says, you know, like, I'm not interested anymore, right? He found something way better. It was only after he moved on and found something better. Um, it's like, how do you properly do that? You know, move on or kind of redirect your attention to what's good. I think often it's really easy to get distracted. Right? Like, I think you see this on YouTube especially. Like people being afraid to do something or to try to make something. Especially people who have gotten successful in the past. They don't want to rock the boat or shake anything up. Or they just have a really high expectations on themselves, which I think is good to a certain extent. But it's trying to figure out what game you're playing, like what game you should be playing. That's also a huge piece of it. There's a lot of little spots on here. A lot of that's with practice and like sticking to things. I am not the most self-disciplined person, as can probably be surmised from all of this. All this rust. Neil often talks about this scene from the show where he talks about somebody just keeps asking the question, what do you want? What do you want? And I think the scary part about that question is that as soon as you say it, it's done, right? It's out there. The genie has been released. You know? So it's scary. Like even now I'm thinking like I'm there's like an account that you're held to at that point, right? Once you say what you want, once you know what you want, as soon as you say that, then there's all the questions about why not. Like then why are you this way? Why do you do the things you do? Um Man, that's scary. That's a scary thought, you know? So in many ways, it's easier just to hide and not have to think about that. But man, my hand is getting it's going to sleep. Oh, and so in some ways, it's easier to kind of conform, and I think that's part of the reason why I talked about like parents' expectations before. It's easier to conform to cultural or familial or whatever you want to call it, like whatever expectations that are placed on you. And it's much harder to kind of figure out what's right because it's not going to be exactly that. I don't think, at least. It's rarely that easy. Hey, we got that done. Usually there's something much more going on underneath the surface. But the truth is, and then you think about just like other people's expectations on you, not even like communal, right? Like, you know, I think there's a huge habit of like controlling your own speech to try to make sure that you don't like rock the boat too much. Like, oh, conform to uh, kind of get the most positive outcome from people, to not be pushing people away, to keep people's attention. There's a lot of times where like I think that's what the kind of disclaimer culture is. That's what I want to call it, where we put disclaimers before everything to make sure that everybody's very comfortable and no one is introduced to a thought that they might not like. Um, and there are times for good disclaimers, right? Like, I think it's appropriate to note certain things or to make it very clear um, what you mean. But sometimes a little misunderstanding should not be treated with the level of fear that we put on it. Oh, it's so satisfying just to clear off this. Hmm. But I say that in the context of this too, right? Um, this very stream, right? Like, there's a there's a Kanye lyric. Um, it's like I'm what was it go? I'm self-conscious. I'm the first to admit it, or something like that. I have it wrong, of course, but something to that. What do you mean, Grim? That this is happening in reality? Which this? Power washing? Or streaming? Or something else? That's fair. That's fair. There's a pretty big podcast, relatively large. I haven't seen it, but I know of it, that plays this game, and they use it as like an interview, like platform. They kind of get somebody else. They get two people in here, and they just work together on cleaning stuff. And there's a bit of that side to side, side by side stuff. Yeah, I think there's a lot. There's a lot to be explored there. I um I don't know. I think there's some games that are very conducive to certain, you know, certain things. Things is a bad way of putting it, but trying to find like what those things are. I think this is a good like. I don't have to concentrate very hard. I can talk, and it's pretty easy. Um, I'm just kind of bad at the kind of keeping rhythm going, trying to maintain the rhythm all the time. What modifiers can we attach to voyeurism of participatory knowing? Hmm. Maybe this is not what you're getting at exactly, but like kind of moving in, kind of learning what it's like to be doing this work, not knowing entirely, but being able to kind of get some of the benefits out of it without having to do everything. Hey Ron, how's it going? Yep, we're power washing. Just having a good time. It is funny to me. There's like a certain age range. I want to say it's like over the age of probably like 30. That has a very strong reaction to this game. It's kind of funny to me. Wall Street Simulator. Interesting. There's a lot of games like that that kind of go various levels of simulating markets and stuff. It's very interesting. I think it'd be really cool to have a game that's like a actual like market simulator. Like you can buy stocks in the game. Maybe you have to like rename them, find ways to do that, but to give people the experience of, you know, trying to buy and sell stocks. I think it'll be, maybe I'm weird, but I think that would be a really fun kind of tool, not tool maybe, but like, it'd be a fun game to play. Where the game is, I don't know, but I think that'd be a cool premise at least. At the very least. Oh yeah, I think we might have the bottom done. Let's see if there's anything on the outside here. This post is a little bit around the corner. Oh yeah. It's sort of crypto tokens, a little bit, but the problem is, like, I'd want to detach the monetary element of it. Like, I don't want there to be any actual investment. I'd want to see what it's like to, like, you know, without the monetary element. How do people behave? How do people, like, do that? They still have limited stuff, but, like, the lose condition is just like I lost the game, not that I, you know, bankrupted my family. I think that's been interesting about like simulated gambling has been one thing where I don't know. I like the game poker. I think it's a cool concept. Like, and it's fun to play, just like, you know, without money. But there's just such that association of gambling with it, obviously, that it kind of ruins it. That you can't like have video games about poker without it like the money part seeping in because the money is just so easy if you're able to do it. Or people will use it as a platform to make money. And so games like that just are so rarely like allowed to live and survive. Yeah, fake slots is another one, right? Where I think there is something cool like that you could do with that. Maybe it's kind of hard to get around the dopamine, just kind of abuse that happens with those games. Um, but a lot of times those like big companies have like found ways to abuse the dopamine to make the most amount of money possible, and that can be quite disturbing. There's something so addictive like video games that like tie money to it to, you know, try to squeeze every penny they can out of people. Oh, there's just a lot around the corners here. Yeah. Maybe I can get an extension out. Yeah. In a lot of ways, it is like a coloring book. It's like a reverse coloring book. You're exposing what lies beneath. Okay, I need to find a different place to sit. My hand is like uh, falling asleep. I think there might be other people, but if anybody is interested in hopping on and talking over Discord for the stream, let me know. I can pull you into the voice channel and we can be chatting. As much as I am trying to learn how to ramble, I think it is nice to be able to have those conversations. We're watching carpal tunnel. Lucky part is I don't have to do anything other than move my hands, you know? There's automatically it turned on, so it works out. I'm avoiding the gaming industry injuries. The Wii wrist or whatever. Okay, thanks for hopping by, Ron. Have a good time worshiping. You get the mouse shoulder. You'll be VNA, not or you'll be VNA praying, but you will also be I don't know, praying IRL. It's just pretty huge too. We might want to shorten this up a little bit. Okay. I was just saying before, though. Yeah, it seems like there's like a certain age where the concept of Power Wash Simulator seems to surprise people a lot more. I think it's just it's an interesting observation I've noticed. But there also is that huge there's like a huge industry around like satisfying content, right? Like making something that's satisfying to watch and oh man, it's dirty down here. Watch and listen to. Oh dang. Grill is dirtier than we thought. Him, them. Voice text is awful and it's going to get me in a lot of trouble. It's dangerous. It's dangerous, Ron. So I think any movie suggestions? I'm still trying to think of a movie tonight to watch with the friends who are visiting. May 4th is coming up. There might be some Star Wars, but I've had a hard time watching Star Wars lately. I don't know, is that anybody else's experience? A lot of my enthusiasm for the series has kind of died with that's lower deck, gas bottle, barbecue side table's not done though. Yeah, a lot of my enthusiasm has died with the Disney stuff, Disney remakes or remakes, Disney ones, movies. There's a certain sense of something's missing. It's like a spirit or heart. I think a lot of sequels try to like define things a little bit better than they need to be. I mean, it's part of what I felt about the idea of the Clone Wars. As much as I like the Clone Wars, as someone who's born in like the 2000s, like the idea of the prequel trilogy, I really like the prequel trilogy. It had a great effect on me. But there's something about in episode 4 when they mentioned the Clone Wars. I don't know, it activates your imagination. You're like, man, what is this thing? And I don't think it's as cool as I think it's cooler than what it ended up being. Zombie metaphor from the Cookout. Zombies and zombies. Can you elaborate a little bit more, Cece? What specifically? That Star Wars has become the zombies? The zombie culture? The unclean? It's also interesting to point out the amount of like how would I put it? The institutional distrust that's put into those prequel movies. Something that's missing a body to it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it has too much of a body. Maybe that's a part of it too. It's too formed. It's like overbaked. It lacks any flexibility. Um, yeah. Also, that sometimes it has no body anymore. It's amorphous. It's a blob too. It's a bit of both. Okay, I do need to finish this picnic table. Where in the world is this? Okay. It's gonna bother me if I don't. But yeah, the institutional distrust in the prequels is pretty interesting. That this become kind of part of our right? The mythology of my youth. Part of it is that you know, underlying assumption of the corruption of the system. Um, and so when people talk about like, oh, why are young people so cynical? I mean, like, that's the culture we grew up in. It was very much like, let's move this closer there. Yeah, it's very much along the cynical lines of things. Secretly there's a guy trying to, overtake the democracy. And nobody notices until it's way too late. Oh, did I get the underside of these stairs? Almost surprised. Sometimes it's much more forgiving with some of these. I swear. There could still be some grime on stuff, and they're like, oh, no, it's okay. It's within a tolerable margin or something, but other times, if you miss a small piece of rust, it just... no forgiveness. Let's look at this table while we're at it. Research table, huh? But I guess Rebellion has been at the core of Star Wars for all of it, right? It's always the underdog versus not the underdog, but the system, the authority, the man is the problem. It was just kind of hidden in the prequel trilogy, somewhat, and then everything else is very much on the nose. I think that's like the consequence of like the baby boomer culture, right? Of that was what they grew up in. They, most of their art reflects it. But the problem is like it can't just sit there, right? It can't just stay in the form of rebellion. It has to move on to somewhere. I think that's the critique that I don't know. I've seen people try to give, and I would agree with, but it just never seems to be taken anywhere. Um, and so what does that art look like? I think there's still a lot to be explored there. Anything still? Oh, stuff in there. Nice. Okay. There we go. I don't know what to make of the new Star Wars movies as much, though. I think, like, clearly there's the sense of rebellion, right, against the remnants of the Empire that seems to be stronger than it was before, which is the interesting part. It's almost as if the rebellion of the first or the original trilogy didn't mean anything. That had no real consequence. That in the end, all of it was futile to a certain extent. Like Hydra, you can't ever cut off all the heads. But then it gives no like sense of institutions, right? Like, and this is kind of the critique back. It's just that, oh, there's another house on top of this whole thing. It's crazy. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh gosh. Anyway. And I think that's what I'm desperate to learn about. And like that's why I love art, is that it helps you learn these things, but man, somebody has to make the art first, and no one who has anything related to Star Wars is ever interested in like what is a good establishment, right? It's mostly like, why is the establishment so evil? Oh, we got the top. Nice. I wonder if the outside is clean, or if we can get away with it. We can get away with it. Nice. This one, I don't know. A bit precarious here, but we're chilling. Okay. I don't know about everybody else, but I like being able to, check something off a checklist. Feel like I'm making progress at something. That might be the problem, too. That's why I love this game. It's being able to, like, you know, feel accomplishment and satisfaction at the job done. And job well done, too, you know? And you're held accountable with that, right? If you didn't do it right, the game's not gonna let you through. Okay. CC, if you had to imagine an art boom for the new 20s, what would you want that to look like? With techno optimist future, look where the world is going. What is the art of the future? What's the art of the future? It's a good question. It'd be a resolution of stuff, right? I think that's the problem. We're in such like a criticism heavy perspective of the world. It would have to be the a new resolution. I know that's not completely helpful, so I'm still trying to work on the wording of all this. Let me make sure I got these chairs first. Chair, dining room, chair. Yeah, still got some. So, so what would that look like? I think that would be a combination of both technology and nature. Like, how do you fuse the two together? I think it would look like, um, partnership between machine and humanity to make something beautiful. And so if that includes, like, I don't know, finding ways to redeem things that were considered unredeemable, I think that's part of it too. Like, that's what I would want to see. I would want to see a lot of things that were discounted and then brought into the fold once more. Like, that would be my imagination. And that's kind of what I've, like, from my understanding, what people try to mean by meta modern. And I don't know, I've been a little disillusioned with that word. I think the word kind of fails in a lot of respects. So, because it seems to be more of like an observation of a pattern. But that's what I'd want to see. I'd want to see like redemption, um, of things that were considered, not worthwhile. Like, I'd want to see like what is good. Like, is there room for this AI generated like art? I have trouble finding it, but I want to see redemption of it. Like, I want to see what that looks like properly placed together. Even if that means like someone training an AI on their own stuff and then trying to find a way to use that to do something that they couldn't have done before. And so maybe it's like less of like discovering new things and more of kind of being satisfied with what's there and continuing to improve it. So it'll be something closer to like, I have a hard time avoiding like the kintsugi metaphor, right? I think kintsugi is the name of it. The act of taking a pot that is taking a broken pot and repairing it with gold. This idea of like the beauty in what is old and like fixing it up. So very anti-fast fashion, I'd say. Hmm. Okay. Well, I went on my ramble. Find something else. I've been writing a story for the last little bit. I'm hoping to release it at some point. I haven't talked about it too much, but I want to write like a relatively longer short story type deal, and then make an audiobook out of it, uh, and share it that way. But I'm still kind of working through it. It's hard to write something, especially keeping it consistent, right? Style-wise, it's a little back and forth, and Um, I'm trying to be better about kind of paying attention to details and making it good, um, and not kind of getting too frustrated to keep working on something. Like I want to make something amazing all the way through, um, but I kind of lack that self-discipline. Oh, Bigfoot facts. Oh. The reason I wanted to write it was more a story I want to tell is kind of a weird way of putting it. Partially because, once I release it, I think it'll be a little bit more obvious what it is. Um, but it felt like just something I needed to make, so it was a good excuse to do it, and it was the right medium for it. And that's what I try to hunt down is like what is the right medium? Because often, people just make something to make it, in whatever they want to do it, but if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And I thought it would be cool to serialize it and do something that's a little bit more week by week. So that's my plan actually for it, is to release it one chapter a week or so. But why did you want to write a book? I also want to do a bigger project. I haven't done too many like larger things, so it gave me an excuse. Where am I at? It's just hard to stick with it, right? Like, I've written a lot in it. There's still a lot to go. And whenever I sit down and write it, I'm having a great time. Kind of doing my thing. There's nothing really else I want to do, right? When I do it, I'm having a great time. But to make that jump into actually doing it, oh, that feels impossible. You know? Actually, I don't know if that's a common experience. For me, that's how it is. What's the, I do the... I do the thing I do not want to do, but the thing... I don't know. Pulse isn't so weird. I don't do what I want to do. And I do what I don't want to do. In this case, it's about writing. But it seems to be the phrase of my life. But I've been really cagey about it just because I don't want to, I don't know. Why have I been cagey about it? I want it to be a surprise, partially. I think that's part of it. Like ship clerk stuff. I don't know how familiar everybody else is with that. But Ship Clerk has been making videos for a while. They're like little pieces of art that just show up in places. And it's beautiful. Very inspiring. Nice. That's huge. Oh. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, this game is, you have, like, different... I mean, you win by cleaning everything, you know? Everything is, it's like in a particular level, you have your percent cleaned in the top left-hand corner. And then it's all done. Um, there we go. And then you unlock, like, new buildings to clean and everything. But there is a point where you can't really clean anything else, and you can kind of go back and redo levels or buy the DLC to unlock new things to clean. So in that sense, there is like an end to it, but beyond that, you can just keep going. There's stuff to unlock and stuff, but other than that. I don't know if you were here, CC, for it, but I was telling Grim about how there's like podcasts where people play this game together. And that's like their interview style, is that they just bring people on to play and talk while they play. I got a call randomly last night from some friends. I don't know if anybody has this experience, but Instagram has their like voice call feature, or video call feature, and people will call a group, and then everybody will, get the ringing for it. And this railing isn't done. Huh? Maybe I just put that. Does it not go over here? Can I not? Oh, do I have to? Okay. So, go over here with it. So I often will get just random calls sometimes from friends, and also from people I don't know as well. And it's very odd. We'll be in the group, and I just had someone telling me about how their niece like touched them with their butt, and then that was it. It was very weird. And then I just left. Um, I don't understand what they were trying to say exactly, but it was a very interesting experience to, you know, have acquaintances tell me this. Why do you think people like that style of interview? It's not something I've heard of before. I've got to know more. Is it more about the game or the interview? It's more about the interview. I'm assuming it's more about the people. So I believe the podcast is hosted by Markiplier, but it gives an excuse to kind of do something in the background and, you know, while you're talking. I don't know the name of the podcast, but yeah, it's some of that side by side stuff, you know, that some people get, you know, get along really well when they're side by side doing the same thing. Whether that be, you know, walking or building something or, you know, doing whatever. Just kind of feels like a good excuse. I kind of want to work on that spiral staircase. Kind of hmm. Looking nice and clean here. One of my biggest shames as a human being is that I have not spent enough time with Lord of the Rings. I haven't finished um, anything past the first movie, and I've only read half of the trilogy. I feel like that falls behind, you know, uh, even people like my wife who are not very interested in in Lord of the Rings. It's something I keep very close to my chest, especially among my Catholic friends. It's like blasphemy to them. It's worse than Protestantism to them. So I don't tell them. Hopefully they don't find out. Until I actually do it. Until I sit down and, you know, do the whole thing. It was one of those things where, like, I know what happens now, you know? I played the Lego games. But beyond that, you know, I think there's apparently something important about actually dealing with the thing instead of, you know, watching random cutscenes rendered as Lego Rendered in Lego, I guess, is the correct way to put it. The weird part about the Lego game phenomenon is that I think for a lot of people that's their way of experience how they experience certain kind of pieces of entertainment. Um, Almost entirely, or initially, you know. Like for me, like this is the other shame. This is the thing that like, as somebody who actually likes Star Wars for the most part, I've been talking about it. I haven't seen all of Episode 3 ever. I've seen like half of it. I just never watched it as a kid. My dad thought it was, or my mom and dad thought it was too disturbing, too dark. And I just, I had played the Lego game. I knew what happened. I know who this Darth Vader guy is. So I have a lot of weird gaps in my media consumption. I'm missing that basic theological formation of Sam and Frodo. Yeah, probably. That's why I have trouble making friends. It's because I never had the theological formation of understanding who Sam and Frodo is, especially in the Catholic context. It's very sad to be illiterate. Yeah, I feel like I don't know if this is what you're getting at, but yeah, it's I mean you have audiobooks, right? I think that at least is kind of covering a lot of the bases nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of kids who are illiterate in school at this point. It's a little scary. But I don't know if you mean it in a different sense. This has been a big phenomenon lately. Especially just around me. Sight words. Teaching kids to just to recognize patterns in letters and, hope for the best. Scary stuff, scary stuff. Yeah, there is that basic theological formation. But it's weird, right? Sometimes you see us misspelling your V. What do I think education should look like? I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about how oh gosh. Like what is the purpose, right? That kind of sits at the bottom. Missing link fact. They would deposit their scat in bundles, much like a wild hog, which they apparently share an identical diet. Anybody had questions about Bigfoot? I think there's a lot of problems with like how we deal with goals in education. Like there's a destination that we're trying to reach, and we don't necessarily like we have a shortcut to kind of determine whether or not we've reached that goal or not, which is standardized testing, which I don't think does what it's intended to do. So that's one piece of it. Um, I think often we're trying to revolutionize an industry or an industry. This sounds horrible. We're trying to revolutionize stuff constantly. Uh, Trying to overcorrect mistakes really fast, especially in education. I mean, you see that like all the time. People want to change the way we do blank, change the way we teach history, revolutionize, mathematics, and you know, it's like, I'd like to see some mastery before, people get on the road. We'll say we should be able to experiment with that before it gets launched out to the general public. You know, I'm a I'm just a random person playing video games on the internet. He's a gnome. Cool. And so with the standardized testing thing, I think that's like one major piece that I've kind of been on a rant about is like how we measure things. So for example, like how do you measure if somebody is a good student? And the way we do it is we test them, right? We have the standardized testing. We say, oh, this is how we know a student is good or not. How do you know a child is a good child or a well-behaved child? It's like, oh, you have a fast way of knowing it by saying like, oh, are they quiet? Do they behave? The problem is that these kind of shortcuts on trying to find out what makes a child good at blank, the thing they fail to account for is that there are many ways to do that, and many of them are not good, right? These are all shortcuts. So, for example, a kid who is abused will be quiet and may very well obey. But was that child raised right? Is that what we ought to look for in a child? No. This is a shortcut that we use to try to figure out how we can make this easier to understand for people. So how do we do a better job of being more holistic with the way that we approach things instead of treating it like it's an industrial process? I think that's the core of it. Nice. I mean, this is true too of like church as well. Church is often treated as like, can we get people across a specific line, and then once they're across the line, we can kind of just not deal with them, or they can be a part of us getting people across the line. And it's not about getting people to be across the line, right? It's about getting people closer to where they ought to be. And it's going to be a journey that lasts forever. It's not going to be a journey that, you don't just say a prayer and you're done. There's much more to it than that. But often that gets lost in the, and this is the thing that Makoto Fujisawa. Oh my gosh. Fujimara. He gets at is that we kind of abandoned um, these other ways that we kind of go about doing things in order to industrialize them to get the results that we want. Everything becomes pragmatic, and in becoming pragmatic, you lose the soul of it. You lose the ability to see people for who they are. Nice. We're making progress. We're making progress. We'll show we'll show the haters. I'm so glad I don't have to manage a hose. Get I can just infinitely spray water. Oh. Ooh. Nice. I think we got the roof. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Okay. It's looking pretty nice over here. Does this roof trim go all the way around? There's a video I saw a while back, and it was Zizek, um, and he was mentioning about why he hates wisdom, why he hates the idea of wisdom, and that it's because it's contradictory. That two things that are completely opposite could be considered wise. So what's the point? So the example he gives is that somebody's saying that they are, struggling with work, and one response might be, um, you know, sometimes you need to take a break and not work so much, or you're working too hard. And another person might say, um, you know, push through, be resilient, grow strength, um, do the work, and learn to love the work or something like that. And both things that might be true and might be wise, yet they are completely contradictory, um, and not really redeemably so, right? In a certain sense. And how do you make sense of this? And oh, this wood frame. Let's see, finish this one too. Huh. And it's funny, you just don't see very many people like I mean, you see it every once in a while, right? You'll see there'll be people who say that, you know, they'll talk about the Bible is stupid because it contains contradictory verses, and they'll point out the verses from like Proverbs, where it says you know, answer a fool according to his folly, don't answer a fool according to his folly. And they're like right next to each other. It's like, how do you make sense of this? And the thing is that it requires discernment, and then the question is, right, then like what's the point of wisdom? If you need discernment to be able to use it, then what's the point of it? It's a good question. Cece, you've got to have a sense to know when you're going to be talked to and know when someone else is giving that advice to someone. True. In general, like, wisdom is good, right? Like, just to know these kind of pieces of wisdom, even, like, there's a point when it needs to be applied. There's a time that you just kind of take it in and you have it in the background. It's just part of you. That's important too. Oh, I did not mean to climb that. It's another learning lesson. Learning lesson. What a weird phrase. Yeah, there's time for all things under the sun. But it strikes me as particularly funny from someone who, you know, is a philosopher. That, you know, the etymology of the word philosopher is, you know, lover of wisdom. It's just, I hate it. But you know, sometimes that's what it's like loving something. That's what I was getting to before. I think like that's the piece. Is like this productivity culture is really toxic. And it seeps into everything. And what it does it is, in my experience at least, it kills love. Right? It's all about, you know, getting your cut out of something, or getting what you can out of a situation. And not about, you know, again, doing something for the love of it, or the love of others. And it doesn't mean you have to love doing it, right? It's not about wanting to do something, but like doing something for its own sake. I don't love doing chores, but I love my wife, at least. And so doing things that can help her, just day to day, at least that is something I can do. It's meaningful. And so that's been a hard reframe. That's been something I've been trying to do. Is reframe things as, you know, a love of something. And not an obligation or about productivity, about all that. Oh, it was funny. I was watching Ethan's new game show episode with his fiance. I'm sure people will like listen to that and like not know anything what I'm talking about. Um, but in the interview, basically is what it ends up being. Um, he asks his fiance to give her frames. Like, how does she frame the way that she sees the world? And her initial response is, "I have no frames," which I thought was interesting. I know a lot of people who think like that, and it's I don't know how to talk to them. Um, and usually you just kind of have to like walk them through a little bit, but we have frames. We all have frames. Um, and the scariest lie is to think you don't have a frame, in my mind. Again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about her. I think that was a wonderful interview, and it was great getting to see someone who's not kind of in the space of talking about a lot of these philosophical things. Um, you know, how she sees these ideas and everything. But it was interesting. And kind of reflects a current challenge that I have regularly of like, how do I even introduce these topics in a way that, you know, gets people engaged? I mean, yeah, how do I even like I'm passionate about these things. Like that's just my deal. Like I want to talk about these things with people. But often I find when I talk to people about these things, what often ends up happening is they have no interest. They have like negative interest in certain ideas. And do as much as I can right here. But I'll probably be heading out soon to work on dinner stuff. Cooking some nice potatoes, some asparagus, hanging out with friends. Be a good time. But I'm glad I got this moment to relax and kind of just rant and ramble for a little bit. Well, thank you, Cece. I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. think it's a nice Saturday. Oh. But I think, yeah, I think we made some good progress. We made it through the rest of one and got make good progress on another. So, oh, it's a fun time, and it was relaxing. So, oh, I'm not still plugged in here. Well, thank you for joining, CC, and then I'll thank everybody else who's here. Um, Thanks Ron and Grim Grizz and Tayo and Afriel and Parlato, Matthew Parlato. Thank you all for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. And I hope it's relaxing and you get to you know, spend time doing something slow and quiet. But yeah, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Probably tomorrow. I'll do a Death Stranding stream tomorrow.